Ever wondered what really goes on behind prison walls? What officers see when no one else is watching? From eerie silence to unsettling behavior, these are some of the creepiest, most disturbing moments prison guards have witnessed. Raymond George Riles was born in 1950 in Harris County, Texas. His early years were far from stable. He only finished up to 7th grade before later getting a GED and working as a truck driver. But even before that, during his teenage years, he had already been in trouble several times for inappropriate behavior and breaking into homes and businesses. Family members often described his behavior as unpredictable. He would sometimes pray in different languages or speak and act like he was someone else. On a December day, Riles and Herbert Washington entered John Henry Motors, where Washington tried to return a car, but tensions escalated, leading Riles to shoot and injure 31-year-old John Henry before stealing cash. It triggered a high-speed chase that ended with gunfire, resulting in Riles' injury and capture. During the trial, the courtroom became chaotic. Riles frequently had loud outbursts, once broke a piece of the door, yelled at the judge and the prosecutors, and even tried to charge at the judge. Because of this, he had to be kept in a holding cell close to the courtroom for the rest of the trial. His lawyers brought in experts who talked about his severe mental health struggles, including episodes of paranoia and confusion. However, the experts for the state said he was pretending to be unwell. In the end, the jury decided Riles was responsible for what had happened, and in 1976 he was sentenced to the harshest punishment available. While waiting in prison, his mental condition continued to decline. In 1985, he tried to end his own life by setting himself on fire inside his cell. He suffered serious burns over a third of his body. Just a day earlier, prison guards saw him acting strangely. He was rolling in the dirt, chewing grass, and saying he was trying to connect with higher powers. He ended up removing his toenail and using it to scratch up his own arm. Over the years, Riles' mental health stayed a topic of debate. Many planned dates for carrying out his sentence were delayed because of ongoing questions about whether he truly understood what was happening to him. Then, in April 2021, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals decided that his sentence should be changed. The court found that the original jury had not properly considered the impact of his mental health. By June 2021, Riles was officially resentenced to life in prison. But the next man? Oh, he did something far more strange. Darren Rainey was born in 1962. He had been diagnosed with schizophrenia, a serious mental health condition that affected his thoughts and behavior throughout his life. Over time, he faced several legal issues related to substance use, mainly involving white powder. These incidents eventually led to a 2-year sentence at Dade Correctional Institution in Florida. On June 23, 2012, during his time at the facility, Rainey had an episode linked to his mental health condition. According to prison guards, he went to the bathroom in his cell and smeared waste on himself and the walls. As a response, correctional staff moved him to a shower that could only be controlled from the outside. Before we go deeper into what really happened, don't forget to like and subscribe for more chilling stories. So, it's been reported that the water temperature was set extremely high, around 160 degrees Fahrenheit, and Rainey was left in the locked shower for nearly 2 hours. Why would the staff do this? Reports later suggested that some correctional officers used the hot shower as a way to discipline inmates, especially those dealing with mental health issues. The water was so hot and the time spent in the shower so long that Rainey collapsed and passed away. What happened after was disturbing. Prison guards who saw Rainey afterward said his skin was peeling, a condition often linked to being exposed to extremely hot water for too long. However, the official autopsy said he passed away due to a mix of his mental health condition, existing heart issues, and being in a tight space. It also claimed that the water inside the shower wasn't overly hot. Despite what witnesses described, prosecutors later said there wasn't enough evidence to move forward with legal action against the officers involved. This decision led to public frustration, especially from human rights advocates, and brought national attention to the way people with mental health conditions are treated behind bars. In 2018, Rainey's family reached a settlement with the state of Florida for $4.5 million through a civil rights lawsuit. Rainey's experience forces us to confront the harsh realities of prison discipline. But the next case, it's chilling in a completely different way. Willie Francis was born in 1929 in St. Martinville, Louisiana. At the age of 15, he was accused of being involved in the passing of Andrew Thomas, a local pharmacy owner who had previously hired him. For 9 months, no one had been held responsible until Francis was taken into custody in Texas for a different situation. During that time, authorities claimed they found Thomas's wallet in Francis's possession, although no physical proof was shown during the trial. While being questioned, Francis gave a written statement admitting involvement. In that note, he wrote,
"It was a secret about me and him."
To this day, the exact meaning of that statement remains unclear. Even with the written confession, Francis entered a plea of not responsible. His court-appointed attorney did not challenge the confession or call any witnesses. The jury, which was entirely white, quickly found him responsible and gave him capital punishment. On May 3, 1946, when Francis was 17, he was strapped into a chair designed to carry out that sentence. It had been nicknamed Gruesome Gertie, but as described by the prison guards, the process didn't go as planned. Due to mistakes made by a guard who had been drinking and an inmate who helped with the setup, the equipment malfunctioned. Francis survived the attempt. Witnesses said they heard him scream through the leather hood, shouting,
"Take it off! Take it off! Let me breathe!"
The process failed. After this, his legal team took the case to the U.S. Supreme Court. They argued that trying to carry out the sentence a second time went against protections that prevent extreme forms of punishment. But in a close 5-4 vote, the court ruled that the state could go ahead with it. On May 9, 1947, when Francis was 18, the sentence was carried out successfully. Those who were present during both events, including prison staff, later described how deeply shaken they were by what they saw. During the failed attempt, Francis had physical reactions and cried out in distress. Sheriff E.L. Resweber, who was there, later said that Francis
really got a shock when they turned that machine on.
Before the final day, Francis seemed calm. He told a reporter named Elliot Chase that he was ready to meet the Lord with his Sunday pants and Sunday heart. There are no widely recorded details about what he ate for his last meal. Willie Francis's case from Louisiana highlights the impact of a rushed legal process. Can the failures seen here be found in other parts of the system? Share your thoughts in the comments below. But what happens when one man becomes a threat to everyone inside the prison walls? Richard Penunuri was born in 1984 in California. He had a tough upbringing, surrounded by instability at home, and drawn into gang life early on. The environment he grew up in played a big role in shaping the path he would eventually take. Before being moved to a high-security facility, Penunuri had already been involved in several serious incidents. In 2006, while at San Quentin State Prison, he targeted a correctional officer during a routine moment when his restraints were being removed inside the East Block housing unit. He used a handmade object, and the injury was so bad the officer had to be taken to the hospital. This wasn't the first time. That year marked a particularly intense period in Penunuri's time behind bars. The second incident occurred during what should have been a standard procedure, but it escalated into something dangerous. Earlier that same year, Penunuri used a sharp object to injure another staff member, leaving a deep wound that required around 30 stitches. The exact reasons for Penunuri's actions weren't fully explained in public records, but situations like this often come from built-up tension or a need to show power in a place where control and reputation matter. After the second incident, prison officials took it seriously. Because of what happened and his past, Penunuri was moved to a high-security section for inmates with the most serious cases. Details about his trial or court decisions haven't been widely shared, but his actions and history likely played a big role in where he ended up. Staff members and prison guards who worked closely in the facility reported several concerns during his time there. Penunuri had a habit of crafting and hiding sharp objects, which raised major safety issues. He also got into multiple conflicts with other individuals inside the facility, making it clear he was unpredictable and often difficult to manage. These behaviors added to an already tense environment and showed just how complex his time in the system had become. But what happens when someone is already barely clinging to life when their capital punishment is carried out? Clarence Ray Allen was born in 1930 in Blair, Oklahoma. When he was 17, he married Helen Sevier, whom he had met a year earlier while working in the fields. Allen also claimed to have Choctaw and Cherokee ancestry. The Cherokee and Choctaw are unique Native American peoples with unique histories, cultures, and languages. His mother was reportedly part Choctaw, and his father part Cherokee. While in prison, Allen embraced Native American religious traditions, incorporating them into his spiritual practices. During his final moments, he wore a beaded headband and a Native American necklace, reflecting his connection to these claimed roots. In 1974, Allen was sent to prison for life after being found responsible for the passing of his son's girlfriend, Mary Sue Kitts. He did this because he feared she would share information with authorities that could connect him to a burglary. While serving that sentence, Allen came up with a plan to stop several people from speaking against him. In 1980, while still inside Folsom State Prison, he arranged for 3 people, Brian Schladewitz, Josephine Rocha, and Douglas White, to be harmed beyond recovery. He made these plans to prevent them from speaking in court. To make this happen, Allen worked with another person in prison named Billy Ray Hamilton. He offered him $25,000 to find and permanently silence 8 people who had testified against him. After Hamilton was released, he followed through with Allen's request. He went to Franz Market in Fresno and caused the passing of 27-year-old Brian Schladewitz, 17-year-old Josephine Rocha, and 18-year-old Douglas White. This act was meant to send a message and keep others from cooperating with law enforcement. In 1982, Allen was found guilty of arranging this and was given the harshest sentence allowed by law. Despite his declining health, the process continued as planned. On January 17, 2006, just one day after his 76th birthday, Allen's sentence was carried out at San Quentin State Prison. At the time, he was the oldest inmate to face capital punishment in California and the second oldest in the United States since the reinstatement of capital punishment in 1976. At that point, he was legally blind, nearly deaf, living with diabetes, and had previously suffered a heart issue. Due to his condition, 4 prison guards had to help him into the room where the procedure took place. It lasted longer than usual and needed an extra dose of the final medication to be completed. Even in his condition, guards noted that Allen appeared calm. He was seen mouthing the words, "I love you," to the family and friends who were there with him. On his chest was an eagle feather, and he also wore a traditional medicine bag and a beaded headband, reflecting his Native American heritage. His final message, which was read out loud by Warden Stephen Ornosky, was,
My last words will be, Hoka hey, it's a good day to go. Thank you very much. I love you all. Goodbye.
For his last meal, Allen requested buffalo steak, Indian fry bread, a bucket of KFC white meat only, sugar-free walnut ice cream, sugar-free pecan pie, and a glass of whole milk. Pedro Medina was born in October 1957 in Cuba. In 1980, he arrived in the United States during the Mariel boat lift and eventually made his way to Florida. There, he crossed paths with Dorothy James, a 52-year-old schoolteacher who showed him kindness and offered him support. Despite the help she gave him, Medina ended up taking her belongings and causing her passing in April 1982 by using a sharp object. He was found soon after while driving her vehicle. During his trial, Medina's legal team said he wasn't fully aware of what he was doing. They pointed to examples like him speaking to people who had already passed, including Dorothy. Even with those claims, the Florida Supreme Court decided he understood what was going on and allowed the sentence to move forward. On March 25, 1997, at 7:07 a.m., Pedro Medina's sentence was carried out through a method involving electrical equipment at Florida State Prison in Rayford. He was 39 at the time and became the first Cuban-born person to face this outcome in Florida. As the procedure began, something unexpected and alarming happened. Prison guards saw flames burst from the headpiece placed on Medina, followed by thick smoke and a strong burning smell. Attorney Mike Minerva, who was present, described it by saying, "A solid flame covered his whole head, from one side to the other. I had the impression of somebody being burned alive." The staff acted quickly. A supervisor wearing protective gloves put out the fire, and a nearby window was opened to clear the smoke. Even with the fast response, the situation was very disturbing and raised serious concerns. Just before the procedure, Medina was asked if he wanted to say anything. He said,
"I'm still innocent."
For his final meal, he asked for Delmonico steak with onion gravy, French fries, salad, black beans and rice, American cheese, butter pecan ice cream with strawberry topping, a coconut cream pie, and a Pepsi. He reportedly joked,
"If I had known the ice cream was going to be so good, I wouldn't have ordered the steak."